Hello everyone, welcome to another video of Python playlist. Now in this video we are talking about properties of print. Print provides us with 4 different properties or keywords using which we could manipulate the default behavior of the statement. Now what do I mean by default behavior? Let's hop into the example and check this out. Let's try to uncomment this two line and run it. Here you can see the two values are getting separated with a space in between. But we haven't given any space here, right? So why is this happening? Because the SCP keyword has a value blank space. That's why these two keywords or two values are getting separated with a space in between. And what if you want an equal sign between value equals to 2? So how could you do that? Just write SCP and inside single quotes write the pattern you want your values to follow. Yeah, there we go, value equal to 2. Let's try this with a bigger example for better understanding. Now I want to print this list of boards in a very specific pattern, that is space star space. How could I do that? Just inside separation I'm passing that pattern, and when we run it, here we go. That's all about separation. Let's get to the next topic, that is AND keyword. Now as the name suggests, AND keyword puts its value or the pattern at the end of each print statement. So if you look at the previous example in here, you can see there are 3 print statements and all of those are getting printed in new lines. What if you want to print the whole or 2 print statements in the same line, or you want to separate it by 2 spaces? So how could you do that, or 2 new lines? So for that you just have to provide AND equals to a normal space just to write the whole thing in a single sentence. So why is this happening? Because the default value is /n. /n stands for new line. Okay, let's run it and check this out. Yeah, here you can see for this particular print statement we haven't provided any parameter for AND. So it is taking the default value, that is /n, and moving to the next line. But for this particular case we are providing a single space as AND keyword as the value of AND keyword. So that's the reason these two different strings are getting printed in this single line. Okay, now I will comment these two examples out because that is going to make a huge mess out of it. So let's try to get on with file keyword. So what does file keyword do? Now suppose you don't want your output to be displayed in the console here, you want it to be displayed in a specific file, or you don't want your output to be present as a normal standard output but you want it to be raised as an error or an exception. How could you do that? Just by simply changing the file parameter you could achieve this. So if I'm printing the first 2 lines out, you could see there is no particular difference between the way they are printed, but if you check with some other compilers you will find that this particular line will be raised as an error or it will be printed in red, and in some compilers you may even find that this is listed at top of all print statements as a top priority. So that depends on compiler, but yeah, this particular line means it has been an exception or an error has been raised. What if you want to print the whole thing in a new file? Suppose I want a demo output 1 txt and I want to print this output inside there. How could I do that? Now I am writing a variable file name and inside there I am opening a document. If it exists then the same thing will be overwritten in the document, but if the document doesn't exist it will create a document and write the output. So I will talk about this file modes and how to open a file later in another video, but yeah, that's all you need to know for this particular example. Let's run it. Yeah, you can see this line didn't get printed in the console but it moved to a separate file, right? So that is how the behavior is. Now let's say for an example you don't want to pass file parameter for each and every print statement that is coming, but you want every print statement to be printed in a different file. How could you do that? You remember, right, the file keyword has a default value of sys.stdout. So what if we change, or what if we make that as a variable and store something else? So inside here we are opening a next or a new file and we are storing the value inside sys stdout. So if you, in this case you don't even have to pass the value sys.stdout because by default it is taking the same value. So let me run this out and let's check the second file. Yeah, you could see that demo output 2.txt default, but check the file name. So this is the statement that is supposed to be printed. Now let's for example print another word called hi. So let's print this out and let's check this. Yeah, see, so whatever print statement is coming after this declaration or after this definition, each and every print statement's content will move to demo.txt. Okay, let's comment this out and let's move to the last keyword, that is flash keyword. Now before I explain flash keyword, let me guide you through a pictorial way. Let's move out to here. Yeah, you could check this out, right? In this file you're checking whenever a Python file, or so we write a code in Python file. So do you guys expect that whenever you're printing something out it directly gets printed in the console or file? That doesn't really happen. What happens is it moves to a buffer and inside buffer, whenever the execution is complete, it is later written into the console. So that's why you see a slight delay between the compilation and printing. Now let's try to okay, let's try to comment this out. I guess I have written it. Yeah. So see, what is the default behavior here? Trial 1 with end keyword is getting printed first. After a sleep or a halt of program for 5 seconds, this line is getting printed, right? Let's try to edit it and give a keyword and as a single space. And let's try to run it now. So what did you notice here? What happens is the whole sentence, both the print statements are getting printed after 5 seconds of delay, not like the previous case. This is because we have provided a certain parameter inside end. So how could you print like before? Like even after passing this end keyword, you want to print this particular statement first and then print this statement without any delay with the printing of first statement. Okay, how could you do that? You could do that using flush parameter. Now by default, flush is set to false. That's the reason nothing happened. So whenever we are setting it to true, let's run it. See, the first line got printed, and after a delay of 5 seconds, yeah, the second line got printed in the continuation. So what happens is whenever we are setting flush to true, it basically forcefully flushes whatever data is present inside the buffer and it moves to the file or the print statement or the console. Okay, so I guess that's all for this video. I hope you like this video, so please share, subscribe, like the video, and do comment it out if you are having any doubt or any query or any comment. So yeah, that's all for this video. Let's meet up in the next video. Thank you guys.